The sun was sinking below the horizon, casting golden hues across the endless prairie. The wind whispered through the tall grass, carrying the scent of dry earth and the distant murmur of a river. Peter Langley, known across the West as Peter the Cowboy, adjusted his hat and tightened the reins on his horse, Dusty. Peter wasn't just any cowboy. He had a reputation that traveled faster than the wind, a name etched into the hearts of those who had seen his bravery. He had ridden through the roughest deserts, faced the fiercest outlaws, and emerged victorious in duels where the difference between life and death was a heartbeat. But tonight, he was riding towards something more personal: revenge. 2 weeks earlier, Peter had returned to his ranch near Dust Creek, only to find it burned to the ground. The fields were scorched, the barn collapsed, and the cattle stolen. He found a single token left behind: a black feather, the signature mark of the notorious outlaw Jasper Crow. Peter had crossed paths with Crow before, once sparing his life in a gunfight outside of El Paso. He had hoped the outlaw would change his ways, but this attack on his home proved otherwise. Now it was time to settle the score. With every hoofbeat, Peter's heart drummed in unison with Dusty's gallop. He rode through the night, guided by the silver light of the moon and the trail left by the outlaws. By dawn, he reached a canyon where a makeshift camp stood hidden among the rocks. Peering from behind a boulder, Peter counted 6 men gathered around a dying fire. Jasper Crow sat in the middle, twirling a knife between his fingers, laughing as he recounted their latest raid. Peter didn't hesitate. He fired a warning shot into the sky, and in an instant, the camp erupted in chaos. The outlaws scrambled for their weapons, but Peter was already moving. He fired 2 more shots, hitting the hands of the closest bandits, disarming them before they could retaliate. Jasper Crow, however, wasn't one to be caught off guard. He rolled behind a wagon, pulling his revolver from his holster. "I was wondering when you'd come, Langley," he called out. "Should have burned you along with that ranch of yours." Peter's eyes narrowed. "You made a mistake coming after me, Crow." The 2 men circled each other, guns drawn, shadows flickering in the firelight. The silence between them was louder than the wind howling through the canyon. Then, in the blink of an eye, both men fired. The crack of gunfire echoed through the rocks. When the dust settled, Crow clutched his side, stumbling backward. Peter walked forward, standing over his fallen foe. "This is for my home, my land, and the people you've hurt. You had your chance." Crow gasped, struggling to breathe. You should have killed me back then." Peter holstered his gun and turned away. "I'm not like you, Crow. You'll answer for what you've done, but not by my hands." He whistled, and soon the distant sound of approaching riders filled the air. Sheriff Dawson and his men arrived, rifles drawn. "We got your telegram, Peter," the sheriff said, dismounting his horse. He looked at the defeated outlaws and nodded. "Looks like we'll be taking these men in." As the sun rose over the canyon, Peter mounted Dusty once more. His ranch was gone, but the West was wide and there were more trails to ride. The legend of Peter the Cowboy would continue, one adventure at a time.